Okay, welcome to our... There we go. That's not a welcome, what is? To our fourth webinar, and really appreciate we've got nearly 700 people signed up tonight. So it's great. I really appreciate coming to see what we do here. Last week it was all about show jumping. This week it's all about eventing, and if we got a night for you. So we're just starting off with your Temperament. We had one lucky winner, Sarah from Kenya, who won a dose of Shatem, and that's going to be winging its way over to you. But anyway, so tonight we're giving away a Ramira B dose. So one of you lucky people can have that tonight. So first of all, we've already got to introduce our two guests, Oliver Townend, the world #1 eventer, rider, and Nina Barbour from Bowlesworth Estates. And we're both going to be talking to them tonight about Oliver's eventing career and obviously how they breed the horses, what they're looking for, and in the mares, the stallions, and trainability and everything else. But to start with, we're going to look at some of the stallions, the eventing stallions here we've got here. Looks like we've got a bit of competition as well that want to join in on the video. So we've got great lineup of stallions tonight. We've got Sula Blue, we've got Antsy, we've got Murphy's Gem, and we've got a very special new stallion to review tonight. We're also going to talk a little about Jumbo, Powerblade, and Ribera B as well. Try and ask some questions. The questions have been great over the last few weeks that we've had. So get those questions coming in, and some of them we can put to Oliver or Nina tonight. We're going to do some poll questions. We've got a couple of poll questions, so we'll be asking you what type of horse you like to breed from, and so on. And really to thank Nina tonight, we're giving away a Ramira B. So one lucky person is going to have one dose of Ramira B semen winging its way to them later on, and we're going to announce that winner at the end of the night. We've just got to thank Clip My Horse. They've given us a lot of the videos and things tonight free of charge, so we really appreciate that. Next Thursday, we're on again. I think we're on a roll now. So that'll be the 5th one that we're doing. We're doing on stallion management next week. So it's really crucial that, if you've got stallions or want to breed from stallions, we're going to tell you everything you need to know, how you look after these boys in the barn, everything from the feed, the exercise, how stress can affect semen quality and how you can get around that. So we're going to talk about that next week. One thing is every night we do it for charity, and we ask you to do a small or hopefully a large donation to charity. And again, it's going to be the Horse Trust again tonight, and you'll get an email after. So if you can do a donation to them, that'd be great. Remember, the Horse Trust look after rescued horses and ponies and donkeys who've suffered neglect and cruelty, and the way they run that charity is purely on your donations. So that will be great if you can donate. But really a big thank you to the people behind the scenes, all our team here, but especially the British breeding as well. Eva and Rachel, they've been working tirelessly up to, I think they still are working behind the scenes, actually getting these videos ready. It's an enormous amount of effort to put this together tonight. So I really appreciate all the work you've done. So let's move on and let's get the first stallion round. And the first one we have is going to be Sula Blue, and here he is. So Sula Blue, Sarah, tell me a little bit about Sula Blue.
Sula Blue, well, he's a long-standing resident to us. He comes to us every summer. He's now 18. He's owned by Francine Chilton. His last job was Saffron as well, and he went up to 3-star with her. He's a grade 1 elite stallion. His highest ranked stallion in 2016, 17 and 19 that was still competing. He adds refinements to your mare. He has speed and stamina too, and he's got a really gentle, kind nature to him, as I'm sure you can see.
Is he full thoroughbred?
He's full thoroughbred.
Yeah.
He's 750, no foal free return.
And he's done it and he's got the t-shirt and everything, this horse.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Did you ever compete against this one?
Yeah, lots of times.
Did he ever beat you? I hope not. But possibly. I've seen him out and about an awful lot, and it just looks, to me, especially for a stallion, an unbelievably straightforward character. I've seen him in busy warm-up arenas. I've seen him a lot. You never see him misbehave. You never see him squealing and squawking in a stallion-like manner. I think he's just a very, very straightforward, nice character, nice person. See how quiet he is, isn't he? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. He was shortlisted. He was shortlisted for the GB teams in 2018 and for the junior GB teams.
Yep. Turning around a bit, yep.
He's now got progeny that are moving up now to do the meter classes.
Right, yeah.
So he's one to watch, but he's just a lovely, stunning example.
How old is he again?
He's 18.
Yeah.
He was 18 last week. He always has his birthday while he's here with us. He has his own Facebook page. You can look him up on Sula Blue.
And he's only just been with us for 2 weeks now, isn't he?
He has, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
He's here till the end of July.
Right. Have we got a video to play for him? Yeah. Yeah, come on when he goes. Yeah. Great. Okay. Well, thanks, Megan.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, it's not off now. Right, so he's been put away. We just before we wait to the wait for the next stallion. The next one we're going to bring out is Anstey. John Chambers has brought lots of stallions to us over the years, and this is just another thoroughbred, is it, Sarah?
Full thoroughbred, yeah.
Thoroughbred.
Owned by John Chambers of Springfield Stud.
But we're just waiting for him to come out. But before he comes out, just again to say, oh, it sounds like he's coming out now.
Nearly.
Right. Oh, just polishing his feet. Just putting a bit of nail varnish on there. What I'd say is next week, if you are about, what we're going to go is say go through all the feed, how we look after them, turning out, exercise, how we collect off the stallions. We're even going to show you how we weigh the stallions. The horse's weight is obviously, we monitor the weight right the way through their stay here. And we've all got CCTV in their boxes as well. If ever we see a stallion stressed out at all, that can affect the semen quality. So we're going to talk about that next week. How we get them, prepare them for the collection process as well. So this is Anstey. Well, he's polished up well, isn't he?
He's looking well, yeah. Yes.
Pushing that one. Okay, yeah. One more. Yeah. But he's full thoroughbred, Sarah?
He's full thoroughbred. He has actually raced before he was used as a stallion. He's racked up $237,000 in prize money.
Wow.
That's from 15 starts.
Right, okay, so he's proved himself as a racehorse.
The thoroughbred bloodlines go back more than 5 generations. He carries the base of the sire line with him. And the video will show you more Pedigree shortly when we play that. He's owned by John Chambers of Springfield Stud.
Yeah.
We do quite a lot with John, don't we, Tullis?
Yeah, yeah. He said, what's his stud fee?
He's 650, lifeball guarantee.
And just so you know, if you're not too sure, lifeball guarantee means that you can keep having a go with this chap until your mare's in foal. Even if your foal passes away, you know, unfortunately when it's born, you can still have another go next year. So it's usually a 24-hour lifeball guarantee. Yeah. For this. But if you want a bit of speed, a bit of Thoroughbred on.
Yeah, that's right. He's got stock now under saddle in Europe and UK and also in Southern Ireland. He's got frozen available just for the UK and Northern Ireland. And we're sending chilled out all the time for him at the moment. He's a popular choice. He's by highest honour and he's out of a Dixieland mare.
Right. And I think we've shown he's got his breathing on there as well, haven't we?
We have, that will be on the video, yes.
Do you use many with Thoroughbreds? Depends on the mare, I suppose.
Of course, yeah. It's if and when, but at the same time, it's always nice to have a Thoroughbred choice. It's the first time I've ever seen this boy. Again, very, very nice type, short coupled horse, looks a powerful horse, and whatever job they've done previously, I always like, if they have run on the track, we like to use winners because for me, competition horses should be winning at whatever they do. It's obviously, you know, shows a lot to do with their attitude, and he's obviously been highly successful at his job.
Yeah, it's not like he's a failed racehorse, is it? You know, he's obviously gone out. Okay, thank you, Josh. Right, if you can play the video of Ansi, that would be great now while he goes back to his stable. Is that playing now? Some of these, you know, the Shires, they're endangered, and you know, and especially flies that are critically endangered.
I think people were just struggling to hear our discussion then with the video playing in the background. So if you could just recap for everybody.
Nina was saying she's got a friend that was using a Shire. A Shire. Or cross Thoroughbred.
Yeah, I knew a Shire cross Thoroughbred mare that show jumped, and with that knee action made it very careful. So,
right.
Yes, she's not everybody's cup of tea, but lovely horse that jumped up to a decent level. So
and, yes, because was probably quite a strong mare, was he?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Big white face.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
But no, I mean, obviously you can put them to. Okay, so the next one we're bringing out is Murphy's Gem. Oh no, he's having his toes polished as well. He's near. But this is another very exciting thoroughbred. Something slightly different in the sense, you know, where he's come from. He's you know, he's a clone at the end of the day, and some people's views are slightly different on clones, but he's exactly the same genetic makeup as Gem Twist. Okay. So this is again a full thoroughbred, he's a clone of Gem Twist. He's really coming to his own just recently. In America, they absolutely love him. We've been sending more and more semen out to him all the time. Just put him forward a little bit. That's it. So Sarah, just tell us a bit about.
Okay, well, Murphy's Gem's been with us a few years now, and he's got some very loyal clients. They come back and use him year after year, and word is getting out. Big names are starting to use him. This is an opportunity just to use proven bloodlines that historically would have been lost from Gem Twist. You don't get many opportunities like that in breeding now to put proper good bloodlines back. People who don't know, Gem Twist was a gelding, so he could never be bred with.
And what's his terms?
He's 800 lifetime guarantee. I'm actually protecting him Tullis too.
Yeah, so we just explain it. He's 800. No foal no, he's lifetime guarantee.
Lifetime guarantee.
And you can do sex even with him. I think we've got a foal coming out with that's.
We have, yes.
There's going to be a filly foal born by his sex semen. So his semen is, again, really good quality, and you can pick whether you want a colt or a filly. I mean, could life get any better?
He's owned by Oliver White from the Mercury team. I promise to say hi to Oliver tonight. I'm hoping that he's joining in and watching. Just by using Gem, it just allows you to put quality into your breeding line. You're not just going to get any kind of normal horse by using Mercury's Gem.
You're not only going to get Thoroughbreds, so you're getting a jumping.
Yeah. Well, Gem Twist earned over $800,000. And he was the only horse to have won the equivalent of the Hoyes Grand Prix 3 times in a row. There was no other horse that has done that in America. Right. Hence why he's so popular in America. And
you can look at his temperament. I mean, again, he's a super chapter. Nice.
Yeah. He goes out every day. He's on the walker every day. We've got semen stored up worldwide for him, actually.
Yeah, Australia, America.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, America, Christine Miller, she sells out every year with him.
Because that's where he came from. I mean,
yes. Yeah. We've got one client, Laurie Larrabee. She'll probably buy between 5 and 10 stud feet a year of him.
Who's just got stud feet? Just
Mary King.
Mary King this afternoon. We've just put her there. So, what sort of mare would suit this? Would you think, Oliver?
Again, you've got so many options with him being full thoroughbred. I'm a huge fan of his pedigree. You can't argue with his pedigree at all from what Gem Twist achieved. I mean, I was a horse mad, geeky kid that watched every video, and he was on the Thrills and Spills videos with actually John Whittaker jumping in the World Championship when they swapped horses in the final round. So it was just a phenomenal horse, and you've got no end of options with his pedigree because obviously the full thoroughbred. And it's very rare that you find a full thoroughbred that obviously can jump like he can.
Yeah, got those jumping lines sort of genetically there. So.
Yeah. We've got, actually, he's taken Southern Ireland by storm a bit last year.
Yeah.
We've got a really nice colt that was bred by the Lisbrogan stud, Tom Conlon. He's got a hand in glove mare Truins. He bred, well, it's a yearling now, that's been sold to America. The plan is to keep that as a colt. The actual mare, Oliver, was the same mare that bred your glider. Yeah. So that's the next step for him. He's going to have licensed stallions on the ground in the next couple of years.
Yeah, he's really coming to earth.
Yeah,
he's getting a lot more mares.
That's it. Yeah.
Really seeing true potential that he can produce.
One thing just to mention to our Southern Island clients too. Irish Sport Horse Island are doing a thoroughbred present scheme, and if you the first 200 thoroughbred foals, they have to have 70% thoroughbred in that are registered with Horse Sport Island. They will give you a grant of €300. So get breeding your thoroughbreds.
Yeah. Right, if we see a video of him now,
and
then we've got something very exciting to come to you in a second. Okay, India, thank you very much.
Someone was just asking how big he was.
And he's 15.2. He's 15.2 actually. The father of Gem Twist was only 15.1.
But Gem Twist himself was a little bit bigger.
He was a bit bigger, yes.
Yeah, people always ask that with the clone side. Why isn't he the same size? We always remember with clones, it's cloning plus environment. So it's the environmental issues that can contribute to that as well. It is playing up, is it?
No, it's playing.
Oh,
They can't hear us.
Right, okay.
We can talk about it in a second.
Thanks, man. But people didn't really hear because I think I was talking over the video, or the video was talking over me, whichever way around it is. But they were asking why the horse was, maybe not the same size as is the one he's cloned from, and the reason being for that is that sometimes it's the environmental issues that are associated with bringing that horse up. So yes, he's got exactly the same genetic makeup as Gem Twist, but sometimes the environment determines on the size. So, Faye, we've got a question?
Yeah, I've got a good question come in. So, someone's asked, are all thoroughbreds made equal? So, are some actually sprint versus long distance? And, do you look for a specific type of thoroughbred? Or do you look at the pedigree versus Oliver?
Or Nina, or
anybody who fancies answering?
Yeah, I think that again, we've got such a limitation to the thoroughbreds that we have to use these days for eventing, but a very, very good, famous old Irish breeder told me you need a sprinter to breed a jumper. So in human terms, you can train a sprinter to jump a long distance. So I think that's possibly the best way forward, but quite often with the national hunt sires that miss, they become good event horse sires as well, but generally their pedigree is always back to the flat as well. So I think a flat-bred horse is better for eventing than anything else.
Great, right, well, bring on this new horse. Well, this is really, really exciting. We're to welcome this new horse that Oliver's just found in Ireland. He's called the Eight. It's another grey. I think quite like the greys. So he's called Yates. Tell us a bit about him, Oliver. start with? What attracted you to him to start with? Because what a looker.
Again, I'm always looking for horses that, for stallions that have almost slightly missed the boat a little bit in Ireland through no fault of their own. I always go for pedigrees, they're unquestionable. So he's by cruising. Many 5-star horses and 5-star winners by cruising. Out of a Clover Hill mare that, again, is in pretty much every eventing horse's pedigree that's from Ireland. Out of a King of Diamonds mare, again, top Grand Prix show jumpers. And then you've got the Thoroughbreds, Golden Beaker, Nautilus, and Imperious in his back pedigree. So for me, the pedigree is unquestionable. He did very little covering because he was in a very professional setup that had a lot of foreign sires come in. And again, he was a younger sire at the time. So it's kind of a bit of a hidden gem in Ireland, I think. I remember a couple of people that have had the opportunity to sit on him in his younger days. And I expected them to be very negative and to find a reason why he's not being the top competition horse. And I was blown away with how complimentary they were on him, brain-wise and attitude-wise towards work. I didn't know much about him. It was a pure chance meeting. And when I heard about him, I thought, no, there must be something wrong. And then I saw him and, it's a little bit like attraction with anything. As soon as I saw him, my God, I like you. And obviously I had to start and work hard on the price. But I think he's,
lovely looking, isn't he?
Yeah, he's sexy, he's the right colour, he's got an unbelievable pedigree. I've seen a video of him jumping as a young horse, and the jump looked fantastic to me. And since buying him, I've seen a couple of 3-year-olds that I really like the look of. And I saw one 6-year-old or 5-year-old horse, a video of it jumping, and the horse was unfortunately sold to Italy for a lot of money. Before I got a chance to buy it. So I think he's a horse that's sort of been under the radar, but for me, there's enough blood, there's enough jump, and he'll suit an awful lot of mares.
He's priced at 600 plus the VAT, so it's an introduction offer this year, isn't it? To really sort of whet people's appetite, and he can't.
Again, he's come in a little bit too late, but you can't choose when you find these horses. Yeah. The situation very much reminds me of the situation that myself and Nina found ourselves in with Ramiro B, that Ramiro B wasn't getting any mares in Ireland, and through no fault of his own. It's obviously very fashion driven, but I 100% back Ramiro B, and I'll 100% back Yates in exactly the same fashion. You will see me riding as many Yates as I can possibly get my hands on over the next few years.
I mean, you know how to find a horse. I mean, you found Ramiro B, and boy, I mean, we're going to talk about him a bit later, so we better not spoil. But he's really turned out to me the most amazing sire. So but this chap really, at £600, he's definitely worth a shot, isn't he? And his life foal guarantee again. So he can keep on going until he mares in foal. We've looked at his semen. We've only been here a week. And semen looks really, really good quality as well. So, it should be no problem getting your mares in foal as well. And, he's got a few young stock about, Oliver.
Yeah, I've tracked a few 3-year-olds down, none of which are to be sold yet, unfortunately, but I know which sales they're going to, so I will be there. I think that the horse has a great future. Okay, he's 15 years old, and I think that we've got a lot of time left with him. He's very underused in every which way. So hopefully he'll last a long time, and hopefully we can really, really get behind him, because I believe that, he's the sort of sire that we need.
Yeah. He's just got here, isn't he?
He's only been here 2 days. So if I just explain to everybody that he's been on the same yard for getting on for 10 years. So he's in a completely new environment. Yeah. He's not even been on this side of the barn before. So he's everything new. He's just having a look at everything, but he's such a gentleman in the stable to deal with.
Oh yeah. Good, right.
No, well, on the video we're going to show some progeny. He's already got a 3-star with Alice Pearson, a 1-star with Tom Bird. Tom Hollins, who's a local chap to us, he's got Finnish Caster. That's by him. That's out show jumping, actually, a lovely, lovely white grey horse. We've got a 2-star Rosedown Monkey, and also Yates Wheel that will be shown in the video in a moment. So there's progeny out there, and it can only get better.
Right, shall we show the video, Rachel? Okay. Right. Right. Well, thank you for that. Hope you enjoyed it. I mean, what a nice. We had a question there, Faye, didn't we? I think.
Yeah, we did. Somebody said that they have a stoutly bred eventing mare. Would Yates suit that type of mare? What kind of mare would you use with him?
Again, I think it suits a very wide range of mares in terms of he's very athletic, very blood in his tie. He's got a lot of thoroughbreds in his back pedigree, and very, very good. You know, 3 of the best thoroughbred sires that have been in Ireland for eventing. So, yeah, I think that it suits a wide range of mares, and yeah, I'm not going to oversell him, but at the same time, you know, I've got a good few mares of my own that are going to be covered by him, and they're not all full thoroughbreds. Some of them are sort of half-bred, so we shall see.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, actually, we didn't really run through his pedigree.
Yeah.
Apart from saying he was by cruising, we didn't really go into any more detail. So I just wanted to let people know that he's got King of Diamonds in his dam line. He's actually by a Clover Hill mare, so you can't really get any better breeding than that in Ireland.
No, it's got all the attributes on the breeding side, and I think it's one of the things that attracted you to him, isn't it?
Yeah, again, the biggest question was why is he missed? But when you see the situation and see the way that the industry went in Ireland, they went very foreign with the pedigrees, and he was sort of sixth in line in their young horse. Again, I asked the riders why he hadn't done more from a riding point of view, and again, it was just not really the main aim with him. And now the ex-owners of him have gone into the full thoroughbred industry, and he was sort of left there unpromoted. And it's a very similar story to how we went about with Ramiro B, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
he
just got lucky, right place at the right time. But it's great to see such an athletic, rangy cruising stallion as well, because sometimes they can come out a bit on the pony side, but he's really got that scope, hasn't he? And
was rangy,
great outlook.
Well, I must say, I really appreciate you following. We're really excited about having him here. We've got obviously some other good eventing stallions in the barn as well, and it just adds to that because he's obviously slightly different from the others, which actually complements our string of horses that we have here. It's not just another one of the same. He is totally different from the other ones that we have here. So I really appreciate you finding him, because I think he'll add an awful lot of substance to some of the mares that we've got. So. Just one other horse that we also do is Jumbo. Jumbo is obviously no longer with us, but he's ranked number 6. Is that right?
That's right. In 2019, he was 6th in the world rankings as a leading all-time sire.
Yeah.
He's got 9 UK graded sons, and he's owned by Carolyn Bates. He's an advanced eventer, and he's got progeny at Avesbury, Andrew Nicholson.
I think we've only got a few straws left of him, so
we're pushing 50 if we're lucky, so people need to be quick. We are doing deals. We've got £500 a straw, or we're doing 3 straws for 1,300, and we do recommend using 3 straws in a dose.
Yeah, and I think you competed one of his, didn't you, Oliver? Yeah,
I've sat on a good few. Even been lucky enough to sit on Avebury at one point, but what can you say about him is unquestionable. Again, is another sire that if you've got the mare to suit, then it's another tick. I think it's very, very easy to get these sires that have been over promoted, but I'm really into black and white. I'm really into results, and his results are just phenomenal. Headley Britannia, Avebury, as we've mentioned. I've got a horse at home now, Dreamliner, that's at 4-star level, about to step up to 5-star if we ever get eventing again. So, no, I mean, just an unquestionable, phenomenal sire.
Have we got a video of him?
We have indeed.
So I can play that one now. Rachel? God, you're really on it tonight, Rachel, with these videos. I know. Let's try and see on that little square there. Right. So thank you for that. Oh, we've got a poll question now, haven't we?
Yes.
So what's the poll question, Faye?
So the first poll question, ready, Rachel? When choosing a stallion, what is more important? Competition record, conformation, or temperament?
So what was the question again? What's more?
When choosing a stallion, what's more important? Competition record, conformation, or temperament?
Right. They've got about 30 seconds, so they're not asked the question.
Yeah, don't influence the result.
Sorry?
Don't influence the
No,
result.
I know, I was going to say yes.
Do you want it to back?
I can put it back on there. It's got 10%, isn't it? How quickly, Rachel, do you give us? Can you hear Rachel from there, Faye, or not? No.
Can you see results coming in?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So what's the?
So everyone's going for temperament at the moment, 42% temperament.
Well done.
Competition record is the underdog at the minute at 25% and confirmation 32%.
What would you think?
I'd agree completely. I mean, if you think of the best sires in history, okay, we've got Jumbo, that's the freak of the bunch, but if you think of Courage, Master, Cavalier Royale, none of them have entered. Imperious, Puissance, there isn't one of them that have entered once, and they for me are the top eventing sires in the world. Obviously, always going to get your freak of a horse like Jumbo, but at the same time, nowadays, for me, a top class jumping sire can make a top class event sire.
Right, so it's interesting that was come out the best, isn't it, on that side of it. So really, sort of, I mean, we had our introductions down there, but I think it'd be quite nice to get to know a little bit about both what you've been up to. I mean, how are you both coping at the moment with the current climate, the current situation? I mean, what are you up to at the moment?
I'm sure all of us are the same, but I think we're very, very lucky when we live in our own little bubble with horses, and myself with the office on site. Yes, life's changed a lot, but there's a lot to do, and we've been really, really busy. I've been, very busy with business at home and a few new people on board, and flat out planning for when we can get going again more than anything.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we are very lucky. We're in the countryside, and and like you say, we've been keeping ourselves to ourselves. What have you been still riding quite a bit?
Yeah,
Oliver?
yeah, I have. I know it's awful what's happened and such forth, but I've evented very hard for 21 years now, and quite honestly, we'd had such a good run. It's almost given us a chance to reset everything at home. There's obviously an awful lot of travel involved normally with my job, backwards and forwards from Europe and America, and it's been a really good opportunity to have a breather. The point that I love riding horses the most is at the end of the season, when there's no pressure on them and no pressure on me to have them ready for this competition or that competition. So honestly, I've actually enjoyed it quite a lot, just riding my horses and producing them the way I like to produce them, rather than feeling that I have to have them ready for Kentucky and badminton. And I think it'll have done the older boys no harm whatsoever, because again, they've been running for a long time now without a break, season after season. So it's really nice to see them a bit fatter and more relaxed.
I think we all have put on a bit of weight. Yes. Well, these donuts, I think, aren't going to help the cause either.
We've got a few jealous viewers as well.
What with the donuts?
Yeah. It's just nice to step off the treadmill, isn't it? And actually, well, I don't know. I think Tullis, you're the opposite. You've got busier, but we've been in a pattern of the events that have driven our lives, and actually to have a little bit of a breather. And we were gutted not to be running the big international event last week, although it did rain a lot, predictably. But actually to be able to reflect, actually plan and have a bit of bandwidth to change what you do and change up for the better.
But I mean, I was going to come to the Bolesworth thing in a minute, and I was talking about that as well, but because obviously that's normally at this time of year. But you two have been sort of breeding horses together for a while now, haven't you? I mean, it's finding Ramira Bead.
It was since you moved up the road, really, which was probably a frightening amount of time ago now. What, 10 years ago?
2011, 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
No, over.
We were friends through eventing for years before that, I think.
Because you evented yourself as well quite a bit, didn't you?
I did, with mixed success, Tullis, for a lot of years.
Sorry, I haven't done my research enough. I'm sorry.
Don't.
I've never known anybody not take dressage as seriously as.
I did, yeah, it was the best day when I didn't have to do dressage anymore. I love jumping, and now when I get the chance to get on the horse, that's all I have to think about. So I'm much happier.
But I think you helped fight some of these stallions for Nina, didn't you? But one of the ones that was Powerblade, and I think Powerblade. Well, both these stallions are no longer with us, but Powerblade, what made Powerblade so special for you?
Well, we actually went to see, as far as I remember, a young stallion by Powerblade, and then they dragged Powerblade out, who'd been cooped up in a shed for about a decade or two, and he really caught our eye. And he came out a little bit like a caged lion that day, but once we finally got him home, he was a lovely horse to have around, and a really special type of thoroughbred, one that's really rare to find, going back to all the grey sovereigns and classic sport horse type thoroughbred breeding.
It's quite a sort of strong thoroughbred, if I remember right. Quite sort of heavy it was.
Yeah, a bit like Oliver's lovely new one. He's
Yes.
done a little bit of jumping,
Yeah.
just to show he could. But yeah, absolutely real. I mean, he's had a lot of show horses.
Yeah,
The types
that's
he
it, yeah.
produces are very, very strong and very correct.
I think we've got a video. Have we got a video?
Yeah.
We have. Rachel, if you can play that now, that'd be great. I'm going to try and set that up.
That would be wonderful.
That's charged up a bit.
Quite a lot.
Success with
Yes,
Powerblade,
absolutely.
hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not
Cut out
eating
on the
donuts.
donut.
Caught us out.
Got us out on donuts. Have we got the video, the pictures, Rachel? I don't know where you managed to get them. In the foals in Kenya.
Again, I don't know whether you could hear, but the last horse that Izzy Taylor was riding around Chats with there as an event horse for me. He has everything that you'd want in an event horse. He's just a very nice, trainable athlete that can seriously shift.
You can't really see that. This is really just showing there's a picture. This is a foal, only just a sort of day or so old out in Kenya, and this is one of the first frozen semen foals ever out in Kenya. So I thought it's quite a milestone. It just shows his semen, you know, he's travelled all over the world and works well, and slightly different environment out there, but it's just great to see these pictures of. Yeah, they don't leave those foals out at night, I don't think. No. And then we come on to the great Ramiro B. And again, one lucky person. Oh, there's another picture of a power blade foal, the same foal out there, in a slightly different environment.
What are they breeding horses for in Kenya? What's the horse?
I think it's some of they are competing, some of them, but also, and Sarah might well be watching. She actually from Kenya won the Townend last week, and she's it's obviously the tourism trade as well. They're having people riding in riding safaris as well, so they want to get that nice temperament. So it's for a mixture. Yeah, it's stamina. That's it. You ever been on a riding safari?
No, no.
Oh,
No, I haven't.
It's the most amazing experience.
They've tried to talk me into going on a couple, but it's always in November, and by the time I've entered for 8 months solidly, I'm ready not to sit on the horse.
Yes. I must say, I've done it once, and it was just incredible. But anyway, that's slightly done. But the great Ramiro B, as I say, we're giving one lucky person tonight that's going to be able to get hopefully be picked with a frozen dose of semen. So what sort of characteristics does his offspring, do you see in his offspring, Nina or Oliver?
Well, Oliver's ridden more of them than I have, although I've been lucky to ride a few, and they're just so consistent, aren't they?
You know what you're going to get every time.
Yeah.
I rode a couple before I even knew Ramiro B in my younger days, and I didn't know anything about the Stallion. Again, he wasn't being overly used, so I couldn't find them. And then he'd been very lucky to me. I sold my first Ramiro B to Australia for good money, and he seemed to be a very nice horse. The new people were madly in love with him. So I started to look for Ramiro Bs and couldn't really find them. And then, I sat on one Coolie Masterclass as a 4-year-old, and it was obvious to me that we had something special. And I thought that if a stallion's capable of breeding this horse, then he's got to be able to do it more than once, especially with the fewer numbers that it had. And we had a little trip to Ghostbridge many years ago, and Nino's feeling sick, and I bought him in the back of the stable. I didn't have any money at the time, so Nino had to pay for him, and that's how it happened. But no, it's been fabulous.
You got a knack of finding these stallions, haven't you? I mean, you found him, and God, he was like a sort of treasure. And
Absolutely, there's just not many stallions that stamp their stock so well and in such a good way. Have so much influence, and especially if you've got a sharp or difficult mare, it almost comes out even better because his influence on top of that, and that they're the ones that almost are the best ones with that edge. And his temperament was just so fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a shame, that he's no longer with us. I think we've hopefully got the Coolie Masterclass video. Oliver,
does that involve me?
Is that right, Rachel?
I mean,
we've got quite a few, I think. Here we go.
I've just bred another filly by him.
Yeah.
I only breed fillies.
Lucky that nursery.
That's just been born just recently.
Yeah. Within a week ago.
That was obviously with frozen semen last year.
Frozen semen, advanced full thoroughbred mare. On now. This is a horse horse I actually had as a young horse, and sold on. Piggy French has got him now. Cooley SRS. He was a very good horse. He was by Ramiro, obviously out of a Kilkeel spring mother, so back to Sky Boy. He went on to be second at his first badminton, and then sold again to Australia.
Bred horse after horse after horse.
You can spot them a mile off, though, can't you?
This one was a very good Nations Cup horse with Edward Doyle in Ireland, and he also competed a licensed son of his as well to a very high level. He was underused on good jumping mares, but he's had some cracking ones at 5-star level.
And the thing with him, even if he didn't get a superstar, there were such nice brains that juniors, they've been on junior teams, young rider teams, first horses for kids coming off ponies that have ended up on British junior teams. I mean, it's just, the story's been unbelievable. Yeah, this is you now. Yeah, this is me in Kentucky.
Didn't get to go back for your treble this year.
No.
2 years on the run.
Yeah, he won that 2 years on the run.
Is he one of the only done that?
He's the only British horse that have ever gone over and done that. And again, you know, to go out in front of a crowd like that with the pressure on, you can't afford a fence down. First year he won it, he came from 3rd position and jumped clear and won it. Then he, last year, went in the lead and had to jump a clear. It's just very, very reliable.
How do you control your nerves then, Oliver, when you're the last one to go and you know you can't have that final fence?
I mean,
Do you suffer with nerves?
not normally, but that was a very serious situation in terms of, you know, 2 lads had gone in front of me. Nobody had been jumping clears. The show jumping in Kentucky for a 3rd day is massive because it's on the surface. The crowd, which you can't see from the angle that you saw then, is a huge, huge crowd. And remember, it's me going over there pretty much with my own team by myself, and you know, an American rider goes in and jumps clear before me, and an American rider hasn't won Kentucky for a long, long time. So the American crowd are obviously highly excited, and I mean, over there, you know, they go in and have 3 down and they whoop and hollow and stand and give them a round of applause. So I heard the round of applause and thought, oh, you know, 2 down, 1 down, and they said clear. I thought, oh God, here we go. But no, he's very, very reliable, and he loves the big occasion, and he allows me to ride like I'd like to ride all of them on a 3rd day, you know, like more of a jumper than an event horse on a 3rd day that you're having to, you know, squash and hold off the front rails. You can actually ride him positively and with a lot of confidence.
Surprised they didn't lynch you after all that, the Americans.
No, they're good. They're very supportive once you've done it. But,
yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We've actually got a question through from Ben Thomas Cook. So he's asked, would Ramiro be complement to Touchdown there, do you think? And also, how much is his frozen semen?
So Sarah, you got frozen semen.
Frozen semen is $8.50 live foal guarantee.
So again, you can just carry it on having as much as you until the mare's in foal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would he suit a Touchdown there? It depends what you're trying to breed. Touchdowns are in general quite strong, and Ramiro B's strong of his type. But at the same time, depends what the Touchdown mare's back to. But I would pretty much guarantee you'll get a good jumper with those 2 involved.
So that's the sort of Power Blade and Ramiro B. It's really coming back onto you, Nina, because you've got quite a riding career, you know, yourself, and I think that we've got a video of Nina jumping, because I know you've got the great horse shows and everything you've done, but I know people in the inner circle know you've done it, but I think a lot of people outside don't realise that you've gone on and you competed at Sunshine Shore and places, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always tried to, you know, since we started running shows at home, it's a great excuse to go to much nicer shows yourself to compete for, you know, to see what it's like out there.
Yeah.
We've all, you know, I always said when we started running the shows, just don't want to compare against what's happening next door in England. You've got to be up there and understand what's happening out in the international circuit. So I've been very lucky to go to some great shows. And I now try, you know, my big aim is to, actually, I achieved my short-term aim this year, which was to jump clear round in a world ranking class. And my next aim is to, I'm not going to say win one, but be in the money in one, because I'm not that quick. But I'm lucky to have a couple of lovely horses, including this mare.
Where was this?
Now, this is actually at the Sunshine Tour last year. And this mare really actually could be eventing bred, but the dressage would be a challenge on her. She's by Douglas, out of a direct Clover Hill mare onto a quality mare after that. But she's got a serious engine, and I tend to try and find horses that want to get to the other side of the fence even more than I do. And that's my winning formula. And leave them up, obviously, but she's pretty good at doing.
And you're breeding a few this year, aren't you?
Yeah, actually have an embryo that we've taken out of her by a horse called Conthargos, which is, I think, one of the up-and-coming rising stars of show jumping breeding. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the next Chaco Blue. He's getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mares in Germany. A horse that has is beautiful, only jumped to 130 himself before injury. And it's not until now that when you look him up on Horse Telex, he's only 9 or 10 himself, but the whole page is full of 140, 150, 160 jumpers he's produced. And a bit like Ramiro B, it's quite unusual to find a horse that just keeps producing. But when they keep producing, they tend to keep producing. And that's the rarity. Back to the competition question, it's not always about what they did themselves. It's about, you know, sometimes you get a bit of a gem of a stallion that produces super consistently. I actually love Douglas still as a stallion as well.
So is that one? Yeah, because
so this one's by Douglas. And my other mare, who's a Cartani mare, I put to Douglas.
Yeah.
Because I always find, you know, I find myself riding a lot of Douglas mares when I'm out and about, maybe trying a horse, because they come out very blood and brave. I don't know about you, Oliver, but they're quite on it, aren't they, with a good engine?
Yeah. There's been some very good event horses by him. We won a 4-star short with a Douglas. Fernhill Pims at William Fox Pit Road was by Douglas. They needed a very blood mare. To me, to make a top class event horse, you need a very, very blood mare. Because I don't think he quite got the trip. When it's interesting, Nina said the blood. I think Nina uses blood in now a show jumper's terms rather than an eventer's terms.
Attitude.
So quite often show jumping friends will ring me and say, we've got a very good horse to go eventing, and he's very blood. He's not quite careful enough, but he's very blood. And generally what they mean is he's hot or buzzy, or what I mean by blood is that they get the trip, they get the distance, they have stamina, they have speed. But
I think there's a lot to be said for a stallion that produces both jumpers and event horses. I think the really, really good horses, and I think you've got a question there later on, would probably go and do both jobs. It's just a matter of training. That, you know, if they're built to be that serious athletic type that really want to do it. And, you know, and for me, it's about the ones that, you know, they all have their niggles when they get to, you know, 12, 13, 14 years of age, and the really good ones just wanted it so much. That they keep fighting.
And come back to the show jumping side. Sorry, Faye.
Yeah, I was just going to ask as well, just on a slightly tougher note, as the dressage is a crucial phase in eventing as well, are you seeing more dressage bloodlines in eventers at all?
Not particularly. I mean, for me, still, they have to jump and they have to get a trip to be top class. Everyone thought when they took the roads and tracks out of eventing that you could have more of a foreign horse, but they still don't get the distance. Horses on a Saturday night at badminton are still as tired now as they were back then, but I just think that they recover short term a lot quicker. So you know, a horse that used to do an old-fashioned long format maybe takes 6 months to recover, whereas now they're back in 2 or 3 months. But you still need one that can go and gallop. And I'm not writing off dressage sires as eventing sires, but for me they still need what dressage horses generally don't have.
You can train the dressage, can't you? But if the jump's not there, you can't inject that into them.
Coming back to you, Nina, I mean, this week, well, as we can tell, it's raining outside, so it must be Bolesworth week.
Absolutely.
It's been raining all day.
We're missing the bar though, won't we, Tullis?
Well, I have to say, I was interviewed at your last week, and they said, what do you find, you know, what do you enjoy about Bolesworth? And I said, it's the entertainment. I should say the show jumping, but I have to say, if anybody knows how to put on a party, it's you, Nina. And obviously we've missed it this year. It's in my diary every single year. But, you know, obviously you're looking forward to, we'll talk about the auction in a minute, but it's a long way off yet. But do you think sort of Liverpool, do you know what's going to happen there yet? Is it
Oh God, I wish we had a crystal ball. No, I mean, we're fully committed in planning and budgeting and aiming to run Liverpool, but it's out of our hands, unfortunately. I think if the curve keeps improving the way it is, we've got a fighting chance. But it's down to what happens with indoor venues. Hopefully, you know, France is ahead of us.
Yeah.
They've already got to the point where they're allowing mass gatherings of up to 5,000 people. But England's a good few steps behind. So I'd say we're 50-50, but that's a 50-50 out of our hands, and we'll be ready to go.
But if anybody deserves a bit of luck, I mean, you really wear your heart on your sleeve, and I know, you know, when these things go right, you're so passionate about it, and I've seen it, you know, you've had the rain and, you know, and the fire and everything else, but God, you still keep pushing on, don't you? And it's incredible. I love your enthusiasm.
You get quite resilient about these things, and I think it's been a good learning curve for the rest of business as well, because at the end of the day, these things happen.
Yeah.
And if you can't react and change and improve, and like I say, we had just got to the point probably with this June event where we needed to change a few things, because I think when you model these events in the first place, it's very easy to, you know, model ours on maybe Windsor, maybe, you know, some of the other outdoor events, but we're not that. And I think we'll be making quite a few significant changes for our June event next year. We're looking at actually opening the doors, not charging, inviting people in, because it's more about the atmosphere, the great jumping, the industry, as you say, having a great time and networking with everybody, and on both the equestrian side and the business side, and we are different from those other events, and I like to see us as one of, you know, the more continental shows where it is about the industry, it's about getting people together, it's about that business and social side, which is different to anything else we have here in the UK.
Oh, it is incredible. Yeah.
You know, what a period of time like this does is actually give you that time to reevaluate and change. You know, like I say, it's like being on a treadmill running these events, and you can't make big changes unless you have that little bit of time. So,
and for any of you out there who haven't experienced the Bolesworth experience, it is something. I know my liver is certainly saying it's pleased to have a bit of a rest this year.
The jumping's generally great too.
Yeah, the jumping. Yeah, you did good. Yeah,
She's been putting great parties on since she was 15 years old.
Yeah. So I think we all miss. I know I speak for everybody how much we really missed it, and what I have to say, every year you seem to pull something out fantastic. It really is. It's an experience that we all miss this time of year, or look forward to this time of year, but we're obviously missing it this year. But is it next week? I know you spoke a bit about last week, the elite auction, and that's going to go virtually. Is that online?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going online for the first time with the elite yearling auction in a couple of weeks' time. And, you know, like I said last week, it's just been really fantastic. I think it's really come of age in the last year or so. The collections for both the foal auction we ran for the first time.
I think we've got a video of that, so we can play that, Rachel, as well at the same time. Yeah.
But the collections have got better and better as the breeders have got more faith in what we're doing, and actually plan their breeding plan. We'll be starting
very, very fast, that one. So this is a Tinker Serenade.
Big Star. Yes, like, this was a record.
Cameras on Edward a lot there. I don't know where he's bidding for it. I was nicking about.
Yeah, so it was a record-breaking moment, the moment that the first Tinker's Serenade foal hit incredible price of 92,000 going through the ring a couple of years ago.
So you really attract the top horses, I mean, which is great, you know, you really go for those. So when, you know, when people are looking to buy a horse, you know, you really go to ground making sure it's the right breeding, the right type and everything else. They go through quite a process.
Yeah, well, what we call the black type dam lines have been the real USP for us all the way through. So our version of a black type dam line in jumping is that either the mare has performed to 145 metre level or above. Of course, Tinker's Serenade was one of the top 160 Grand Prix horses in the world in her heyday. Or they're very close relations, and that's the relations of the dam. And then buy a commercial sire, and then the animal needs to look great at the same time. And the ingredients of the three, it's not rocket science, but you know, don't guarantee you success, but they're going to absolutely up your chances of having a superstar down the line.
How many lots?
We have 25 lots lined up for
so
the end of June.
End of June, so that's got in 2 weeks away.
2 weeks time.
So
yeah, register to bid now.
Register to bid now, yeah. And we've got another poll question, I think now, Faye.
Yeah. So when breeding eventers, do you opt for blood and stamina or scope and technique?
So that one's going on now. So yeah, on your well, that's just your. So that's in 2 weeks' time. So they can register on one. Do you want another?
No, I'm good, thank you.
You sure?
Positive, thank you.
We've got some more in the fridge there.
No.
It's 3 or 4 days. It's on register.
It's actually open to bid for 5 days because it's the first time we've done it. Normally it'd be a 3-day window. We've extended it a little bit so people can get their heads around the platform, which is very easy to use. But we don't expect it to hot up until the Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
It'll be.
Then that'll be, yeah, and it's literally because it's not all the rage, but a lot of people are doing this online. It's fairly straightforward now to do the online bidding and everything.
Yeah, there's some great platforms out there to use, and I think it brings these horses out to proper global audience. And
because if I'd said last year, right, we're going to hold a webinar tonight, everybody will say, well, what's a webinar? But everybody knows now, you know, with the lockdown and everything else, how to be more interactive and how to go online and do these things anyway, you know, don't they? So
absolutely, spent a lot of time on Zoom the last couple of months.
Yes. So we've got the poll question through now. So what's the
right? Well, we've got 62% at blood and stamina, and 38% scope and technique.
Well, we're going to talk about that, I think, in a minute. We'll be picking Oliver's brains on that one in a second. So, so coming on to you, Oliver. Don't worry, I'll be kind to you. Don't worry. I've done a research, but how did you really start? I mean, did you go to Pony Club? I mean, were you always interested in the horses, or is this something, you know, sort of?
Yeah. Milkman Dad was into horses in a big way and evented himself as an amateur and always had a horse, evented it, sold it to pay for his hobby, and then bought another one and carried on like that. And I was in Pony Club from early on. I started riding at 7. I had no interest before that point, and then from that point on it was the only thing I was ever really going to do. And again, couldn't wait to leave school to crack on with it. And I never really knew, obviously I'm not from a money background or a professional horsey background, so there was obviously a lot of questions to answer, like, well, how are you going to make it pay? People like us don't do eventing for a living, we work and have a hobby. And there was a lot of negativity, which made me even stronger and even more desperate to do it.
What was the sort you could say the first horse that sort of put you on the map, so to speak, or was there a few of them? Was there the one that sort of stood out? That really
first pony was definitely Cool Mule. We gave £825 for him, and he won a class at Wembley Horse of the Year show jumping, and then went on to event at European Championships, and then he was sold when I was 14 years old for good money, and that sort of almost gave me the idea of how I was going to make it work, and it all went on from there. And then obviously throughout my career I've ridden a huge number now. I've never really, from word go, I was lucky that for whatever reason I was never short of a horse to ride. wasn't always the top class horse or the, you know, I rode a lot of other people's horses that.
Just 2 seconds. Can you tell Rachel she's still got the?
It's okay, it's gone. It's just us there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's got the thing on
It's
the.
okay. It's okay.
Because it's blanked all around.
Nobody else can see that. It's fine.
I was liking it, picking my nose and drinking beer, thinking that no one was watching.
It looks like yeah.
It's just us.
Sorry, yeah.
We're fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and just coming on to, you know, what sort of, because eventing slightly changed over the years. So is the horse type have to change with that slightly, or?
I still think a superstar's a superstar. We can get hooked up on blood percentage and this, that, and the other, but quite honestly, a good horse is a good horse. And I think that my obvious top two at the minute, Cooley Masterclass and Ballamore Class, if I was walking around the warm-up arena at the Olympics for show jumping, they wouldn't look out of place.
Right.
If I had them fit, they wouldn't look out of place at Cheltenham. And obviously the top class event horses. So for me, you know, a good horse is a good horse, and we just need to keep sticking to those proven lines and trying to obviously improve your stock all the time. But you know, good ones.
Yeah.
Are good ones.
Yeah, all the time, yeah. And what sort of percentage of young horses you start sort of make it past in intermediate, I suppose? It depends how well you pick them, really, I suppose, to a certain degree.
I don't know percentage wise, but I think that also comes very much down to riders. That is, I think, the nice thing about our sport, that to a certain extent you can buy success in dressage, to a certain extent you can buy success in show jumping or get to the highest level. Whereas eventing, you might get away with it once with the superstar horse that you've got a great partnership with, but there's no coincidences that it's the same names again and again and again that pop up in eventing. You know, look how many multiple 5-star winning jockeys there are. There isn't many that just, you know, win 2. They either win 1 and disappear, and you don't know how it happened, or they become multiple winners. So going back to your question about intermediate, I'd be very disappointed with myself if I couldn't get a table round an intermediate, but at the same time, you know, it's just not what I'm interested in now. Yeah. But if I set out and wanted to get every horse that I picked to intermediate or round an intermediate, then I think, you know, we'd have a 90-something% strike rate. But again, now I'm getting older and getting less time in the sport, I'm really starting to get more and more finicky, not riding so many of other people's chuck outs, and, you know, really concentrating on the top quality. Top,
well, you've got
top novices.
Yeah, don't worry about that camera anyway. Yeah. And yeah, how come that's
It's just you.
it's just me, is it? Yeah.
I still can't see myself, so if everyone's at home thinking I'm kind of.
Oh, I see. We just got to click that off, have we?
And someone's actually asked whether Oliver, you would ever consider becoming a pure show jumper, or would you miss the buzz of cross country too much?
Who knows? I'd only do it now from probably a commercial point of view, in terms of I can produce horses and I can make them add value. I think I'm far too far down one road now, and it's taken that long to get here, and that many falls and that many bad experiences to get the experience that I've got, that I think that I ought to just stick at what I'm doing and see it out till the end and try and win as much as possible. Because again, you know, I've been very fortunate in what I've won, but I still want to win a lot more. It's still not left yet.
What made you do the switch? Because you obviously started eventing and then went to the show jumping.
She hated
lots of
eventing.
reasons. No, my favourite discipline was always the show jumping. I wasn't good at dressage, and I wasn't brave enough really to go fast enough cross country. So I happened upon just a couple of chuck out horses that were good at show jumping that are a little bit crazy. I've always got on with the, like you say, I call it blood, but you call it hot ones, that really want to do it, and just got the bug. And the other reason is that actually, with, you know, a bit like Oliver said, you absolutely, if you're eventing, you have to be totally tunnel vision to do it safely and well at a decent level. Whereas jumping's a little bit different. You still get in what you put out, you get out what you put in. However, you can pick it up and put it down at any stage of the year. You can get to a much higher level as an amateur without that huge time commitment that the eventing takes. So that suits my lifestyle and fitting around business and that side of things, and I really love it. So,
and you know, when it does there's certain traits that you know, that make them go for like your trainability, toughness, or speed? What, you know, what are you sort of looking for on that, sort of all of the above?
Yeah, a trainable athlete that stays sound, but it's not always the flash young horse that makes it through. It's the one that turns up every day for work, stays sound, stays trainable, and has a nice attitude towards it. And you see so many potential top riders that, in my opinion, are riding the wrong type of a horse. In terms of, myself and a couple of the other top riders, and it's too foreign, and it's frustrating, isn't it, getting beaten? But you know, at a certain level, they're going to peter out. And in my opinion, a lot of potential top riders are sat on the wrong gear, and that's why they don't ever quite come through. I don't think. And it's very professional now. A junior horse is very different to a 5-star horse, in my opinion. So, whereas in the olden days, you used to have your pony club horse that might take you to badminton, it doesn't really happen very often anymore.
Yeah. And do you have any preference between geldings or mares, or?
Again, from a commercial point of view, I prefer a gelding. I sell between 30 and 40 event horses a year quietly. See, people always laugh when I say that I'm just a horse dealer that events a little bit, but that's the main income stream. Geldings still definitely sell easier than mares, especially abroad with the quarantining and such forth. But obviously you can't have a good horse without a good mare. So I ride plenty of mares, but if I'm buying, on the whole, I'll try and buy a gelding.
And we talked about size tonight. Are there any certain size that you prefer?
Sires?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, proven ones.
Oh, I know we've spoken. Yeah.
It's a difficult sport, eventing, because by the time a sire becomes a super sire, generally they're dead, because it takes so long to get these horses to the top level. So obviously with the frozen semen now, that makes it a little bit easier to grasp onto the end of it. But sires that are unquestionable, I like to try and take as much chance as possible out of breeding. So, you know, I love Courage. He's just had first and second at Burley 2 years ago with myself and Tim Price on Ringwood Skyboy, and myself on Ballamore class. I mean, if you get a sire that has 2 in the top 2, that particular 5-star, for me, is a hero forever. Jumbo, as you've mentioned, completely unquestionable. Avebury, Headley Britannia, Mr. Chunky is just an endless line of top class horses. Ramiro B now, he's joined that list of, you know, double Kentucky winner and second at badminton, and an awful lot competing at 4-star level. So I just like to really, they don't have to have evented. In fact, if I'm completely honest, I'd probably, in some ways, for the modern sport, prefer them not to have evented. That's not saying that a sire that has evented can't be a top event sire, but they're the freaks. For me, the top sires are the ones that keep producing these top class horses.
Proven, yeah. And when you're looking for an eventing horse, you know, you walk onto the yard, you look. I mean, what's the sort of
is it looks? Is it movement, temperament? I know it's, but it'd be right. I'm going to go and look at this horse. Someone's trying to sell you a horse or look at a horse. What are you really looking for?
It's the same as, I suppose, most things that, you know, I like you, I don't like you. It's an instant feel more than anything, an attraction. A little bit, you know, of course, you can be attracted to the breed and you can be in love with the type of the horse, but, you know, if it has one front leg like that, it isn't going to last in our job anymore. So I try and sort of control myself because I get behind things in my head a lot. And back my judgment a lot, but you know, the conformation has to be worthwhile. They have to be screwed on well enough, not perfect, but well enough. A huge amount I look at the pedigree, but I don't look at the pedigree generally until I've judged the horse. So right. It's always the type first, then the pedigree, and then right, can we manage his legs?
Yeah. Any questions, Dave?
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you start off your young horses?
So we break a lot. We break probably 12 to 15 a year that I buy in the November, sort of October, November sales. They're generally broken November, December. Then they go out in the field and they wouldn't come back in till the November the following year. So I do very, very little with them as 4-year-olds. Mine start slowly, so the likes of Barbour class, if you look at his record, he only did 3 events right at the back end of his 5-year-old year. And everybody thinks I have this reputation for being competitive, and along that, you know, comes preconceived ideas. But let's take Barbour class, for example. You know, he did 3 events at the end of his 5-year-old year. He was very slow through his 6, very slow through his 7. He was still doing a 2-star at the beginning of the year at Burnham Market, the year that he won Burley. So they get an awful lot of mileage at novice intermediate level. And then when they're ready to press the go button and they're confident in their job, then we press the go button and we can turn up at a big event. And, you know, the likes of him, a lot of the riders, it amazes me because I know most of the horses in the field and I know most of the pedigrees, but a lot of the riders, professional riders, didn't even know Barbour class when he went to his first Burley and won it. So where their heads are, I don't quite know, but
so, and looking back at some of the most memorable tests and rounds that you've had, I mean, what sort of sticks out in your mind? There must be some real, well, you've got so many, but
yeah, been very lucky with some amazing horses. 2014 badminton on Armada, it was probably the toughest badminton course I've ever seen, and it was right on the edge, and he was an unbelievable cross-country horse, unbelievable stride, just everything you wanted in a horse to ride cross-country. Blood, aggressive in the way he did things, hot-headed, very quick and sharp with his legs. The first Burley with Barbour class that we've already said, again, if you listen to the commentators, I think it's on YouTube, Andrew Nicholson's in there and they say, can he get round? And he says, no, he's too green and and you know, I quietly let him warm into it and then got to the top of a hill, and every time I was going down the hill I was going at 100 miles an hour, and every time I reached an uphill I was sat as quiet as possible letting him take me up because we didn't know whether he'd get the trip or not. Cooley Masterclass, I mean, it's endless. And actually Silna, Brad and Evo in last year's badminton, not for a wow feel, but I felt like I had a point to prove, and everybody knew that he didn't get a trip, he doesn't get a distance, he was in an event that he shouldn't have really been in, and you know, we got him to the end and he finished 6th and put up an amazing performance. So yeah, there's been an awful lot of rounds.
Yes, yes, there's too many to mention, but
And do you have a favourite event at all?
Yeah, have a couple of favourite events. Badminton and Burley, for me, they're the Badminton, Burley, Kentucky are the events that I really try and target. For me, they're the the top of the sport. And you know, we've had a lucky run in the, if you put Badminton, Burley and Kentucky together, in the last 7 of those, we've not been out of the top 3. So it's been a very good long run, and I've been in the job long enough that I knew that run couldn't continue. So perhaps this little break that we've had came at the right time, so that I can reset and have a couple of new horses trained up. So they're very special. Love Kentucky because of the American atmosphere and the stadium. Everything's very purpose built, very American, very perfect, correct. And I love winning there because there's so many bonuses. It's a lot of money to win, and you get a Rolex watch. So the first Rolex.
Is that what you're wearing tonight?
It is, but that's not one actually. The first Rolex I gave to my dad, so that's birthdays and Christmases sorted for a long time. And my mum, when I was going out the second year, jokingly said, "Ooh, it'd be nice for me to have a matching Rolex to your dad." So that's what she got.
Got any siblings?
No siblings, thank God. Yeah, and you get a Land Rover Discovery for the year, so that's my sort of manager and best friend Karen, who organises all the logistics, so she gets a free car every year. So it's had a lot of upsides to Kentucky.
Right, you done? Yeah. Right, well, I think we're coming to a close now, and just before we do close, Rachel, could you pick our winner tonight for the Ramira B, if she can?
While they're just doing that, can I just mention, a few people have said that they don't always get to know the temperament of a stallion when they're choosing. We always welcome viewings here. I know it's a bit difficult with COVID, but we always welcome people to come and see the stallions.
Yeah, we can't obviously at the moment, obviously with the COVID situation, but yeah, as soon as we can, yeah, we can see them at the field. But you know, generally we're very, very lucky, touch wood. We have there isn't a stallion in that barn that you know, we would say we would be concerned about its temperament. So we're very lucky on that side.
We are.
Yeah.
Presumably you can see them on the camera.
Yes, yeah, exactly. See them on the cameras as well. Yes. Have we got a winner? Hopefully not in Kenya this time, Rachel. So last week's winner was go to Kenya, but it's literally totally picked at random. This then Rachel usually filters through, and there's out of about 500 or 600. Is she?
I'm not sure if you can hear me, Tullis, but so I have picked a winner, and
don't worry. Well, go on about. Well, we're doing that. Just remember, next week, 7 o'clock, you'll get an email after this to say what you thought about tonight and to say what we're doing next week. So at 7 o'clock next Thursday night, we're talking about the stallion management side. So that's certainly, if you've got a stallion, certainly not to be missed. And you know, we're talking about obviously the management side of that. Yeah, we've got a winner.
We do have a winner.
Right, drum roll now. We have a winner. And
Barbados.
yeah.
Rowan Sims.
Rowan Sims. So if you're watching on there, Rowan Sims, congratulations.
Well done.
And really thank you, Nina,
Thank you,
because
Nina.
Nina's put the dose forward to Ramira B. So really thank you. So there could be a little Ramira B trotting around the paddock this time next year with a bit of luck. So for them. So lastly, when we sign off from here, you will get this email come through. And you also get a link, if I'm right, Rachel, to say that you can donate to the Horse Trust. So please, there we go, on cue. How about that? So the Horse Trust, as I say before, looks after rescued horses and ponies, and they solely support, keep going on donations from yourself. So please, if this has all been put on tonight, I say so free of charge, and so if you can donate a little bit to the Horse Trust, that'd be really, really appreciated. So really to thank Clip My Horse. Oh, more webinars coming up, I see. Yes. So on 23rd of June, I see Bailey's feeds futurity, virtual futurity, and Bailey's feeds another one on the 24th of June. How to prepare for the futurity. and the Stallion management one. God, you've got a big week
That's
next
a good
week.
week of prep,
Wow.
isn't it?
So if you're getting bored of Coronation Street, this is what you can do at 7 o'clock instead of watching EastEnders and Coronation Street. So we can't go out, so we might as well watch this as well. And thank Clip My Horse for putting the videos together. But really, a really big thank you. I do mean it. You know, come over here tonight, Nina and Oliver, and it's been great to have you and your input, both of you, your knowledge over the years. I think hopefully people are there have really learned so much for tonight, and it's great. You know, we've all seen a lineup of eventing stallions. You know, I think, you know, obviously there's, you know, if you're looking for a eventing stallion, there's no place but to, you know, come here, and, you know, we've got a huge range of them here for you. Again, behind the scenes, the team as well. Who put this together. It's not just put it together at the last meeting. You know, there's a lot of thought and effort that's gone into this. And I must thank my team. I can't really say that, but Sarah's put an awful lot into this. Faye asking the questions, and Kate's obviously been helping as well. Kate's here to moral support. And also, they're not here at the moment, but there's, you know, getting these stallions ready and everything else takes a lot of work. So it's all the team behind the scenes, and they're run ragged. And I must admit, I'm walking on eggshells a lot of the time putting this together, because I think, oh, can we just put another event on? And everybody's been so good, and they said, yeah, we can do that. So appreciate the team behind the scenes. And obviously British breeding, you know, Rachel, Jane and Eva, you've done, again, you pulled it out the bag every single time you do it. Those videos that you put together at a drop of a hat are quite brilliant, and I must admit that, you know, you've done a great job. So really a big thank you from all of us, and please don't forget to book your slots for next week, and we look forward to seeing you on our weekly Thursday night for the series. So see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye bye.